Hey, today on the Will and Willis podcast, all the way from Las Vegas via telephone, we have cheerleader Melissa calling into the program. And then we'll take a look at the news and happenings all around the world of wrestling, including the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that's coming up this weekend. That's all that and more here on the Will and Willis Wrestling Podcast.
Spanning the globe for the latest information, the ins and outs, the ups and downs, and the behind-the-scenes story. In the world of pro wrestling, it's the Will and Willis Wrestling Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Will and Willis.
All right, welcome back to the Will and Willis Podcast. Will.
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
What kind of week are you having?
One of those weeks.
One of those weeks?
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Are you excited?
I am excited. On that note, I'm excited because
you should be excited.
We have our first
guest here on the Will and Willis podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, she's worldwide. She has wrestled all over the world. Very well accomplished ladies wrestler. Please welcome into the program at this time, Melissa Anderson, cheerleader Melissa. Melissa, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We are doing wonderful.
I am doing lovely.
You'll have to forgive Will. He gets very excited.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Yeah, no problem. So the last time I saw you was back, I believe it was in December of 2019. Mm-hmm. How are you being affected by this COVID thing? Are you able to work at all in wrestling, or are you just kind of kicked back like the rest of us?
Yeah, I chose not to work during the pandemic. Okay. So no, that probably might have been my last match of 2019. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate that I'm in a position where I don't need to, work right now. So sure. I'm very happy. Yeah. So, I'm choosing not to work during the pandemic.
I see. Yeah. I mean, why take a risk when you don't have to?
Yeah, and we have, elderly family members, and we worry about them and we want to keep them safe, but we still want to be able to visit them,
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. So I don't think that anyone not listening or anyone listening to this podcast wouldn't be familiar with your career, but just in case, and I hate to ask the standard question, but just real briefly, while we have you on, can you tell us how you got started? I understand your father was a professional wrestler. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was in the 80s. He worked for Carl Lauer in Los Angeles, and then him and Billy Anderson, they used to wrestle as the Fabulous Andersons in the early 80s. And so just kind of like being around the wrestling business, or the wrestling business being around me, was normal in my childhood. Uh-huh. So going to wrestling shows, watching Dad wrestle. Sometimes the group will get together at somebody's backyard, have picnics. All the wrestlers get together and bring their families, and then sometimes they get together at people's places and cut promos for other shows and stuff like that. So I mean, I was just kind of around the environment growing up.
Uh-huh. So you didn't have any aspirations to be like Nurse Anderson or Dr. Anderson or Lawyer Anderson or anything, or it was just a fun thing that was going to happen?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I always say it's like, you're like, oh, how'd you become a wrestler? And I'm like, oh, it's a family curse. Like, it just, whatever. Yeah, it's just a curse. It just happened. Yeah, I mean, I think I originally wanted to be a musician, because I also grew up playing the piano. Yeah, so I wanted to be a musician. Yeah, I think I originally wanted. Nice. Yeah, string instruments.
I was going to say, Will's probably got a question. Will's a musician.
Nice.
Yeah,
I know you don't know him like you know me, but
no, I mean, he basically asked the question for me. I mean, was wrestling something that you really, that you wanted to do? And I understand that you had to follow Dad and go to these.
I don't think it was necessarily following him, but I think what really happened is that growing up, I was super super tomboyish. Like I wanted to be on the football team. I couldn't, they wouldn't allow me, but
Oh, wow.
for some reason being on the amateur wrestling team was okay. And I was one out of 4 girls on the amateur wrestling team, and like participated in tons of sports. So, so when my dad and I, you know, would go visit Billy Anderson, who ran a school in San Bernardino.
Right.
That's where I was born.
We went, oh, right on. Yeah.
Air
So
Force
like,
Base.
oh my gosh.
Really?
No, all about that.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, and so Billy Anderson ran a wrestling school in San Bernardino, and it all really started off like we just went to go visit Billy. We weren't going out there to visit the wrestling school or do anything. You know, we went out there to visit Billy, and then it kind of just started there, and then like got in the ring, and I was like, oh, this looks like fun. This is like fun. I can do that.
Melissa, I've got to admit, I had to do a lot of research on your career, and there's been so many interviews with you, and I saw some recently with Hannibal TV and some things like that, and I was really trying to come up with some questions that maybe hadn't been asked before or maybe haven't been asked lately.
Okay.
So I was going to ask you. It seems to me that women's wrestling is in a resurgence right now, and I would say especially over the last 5 years or so. Do you agree with that, and do you attribute anything in particular to that success, or?
You mean like, I mean, what do you mean by that? Do you mean by like how it's like growing and like how it's like really evolved?
Exactly. I think we had a big period. Let me just go back a minute. So I think we had a big period there in '85 with Wendy Richter, and then at this point in before the COVID, of course, but in like the last, I'd say from 2014 to 2019, there's been a big resurgence in women's wrestling. Like I know there are more demand for women's wrestlers, especially in this area on independent shows and things like that. And you have people like Charlotte Flair, and you have Rhea Ripley who are having amazing matches on NXT, and people like that. And I know some people that you've worked with. So is there anything that you can point to that, you know, maybe just the top guys are taking women's wrestling a little bit more seriously? Or do you think the athletes are better, or?
You know what? And I've said this before in other interviews. You know, actually, I think I like talked a little bit about this in the Rick Bassman interviews. But the thing is like women like Charlotte and Rhea and like myself, you know, the thing is Mercedes Martinez is another great example. The thing is that we were always out there. Like these women, these like extraordinary women, you know, these extraordinary female athletes were always out there. And at the time, you know, there just wasn't, before that, you know what I mean? And they've been out there, you know, and look at like the Medusas and the Wendy Richters, you know, and all the Japanese, just like, you know, it's just at the time, you know, WWE had monopolized everything so badly, you know, so basically whatever they were going to push out there is what you were going to like, regardless or not.
Which was a terrible period, I thought, with just this over-sexualization and bra and panties matches, and you have mud wrestling, and you have just not really taking
for the rebellion.
Yeah, they're just not really taking women seriously, I thought, as athletes.
Well, yeah, and the thing is that I always say it's that like, no, we were always out there, you know, and it was just really hard to get recognition and to, you know, get our names out there because I say the same thing in every interview. Every time I had a tryout with WWE back in the day, I was always applying for a job that never existed.
Right.
Always applying for a job that never existed, you know, and it was just so crazy because like at these tryouts, it would be, you know, like 10 models, and then me, who was like not model material at all. Well,
I don't know if I'd say that, but maybe not there.
Certainly back then I wasn't.
Right.
You know, I was a kid. I was a kid, but that's what they were in the market for, and I got no hate towards those girls, you know, because they're certainly, you know, they've worked all hard on their bodies and their looks, and I have like a lot of respect for that, you know, how they take care of themselves and going for opportunities. So like I'm not hating on them at all for being there, you know, and for them like doing their hustle and, you know, getting some money, but yeah, like there were also like women that didn't, that weren't really in the business, and they go out there, try out, and just wrestle, like if it was like their first day ever, and then I would get out there and just absolutely like kill it, whatever, but like, oh, she's really good, but it was always like the other women that got hired,
right?
Because that's what they were doing. They just, there was no job for me.
Yeah, I was going to follow up on that because my next question was going to be, I went back, I watched some matches. I watched your Sunday Night Heat match with Victoria to do some research on this. And I've seen you work with people that have been recently signed to NXT, like Shotzi Blackheart, Mercedes Martinez. I've seen matches with you with Asuka before she got, and Shimmer before she got signed to WWE, Rebecca Knox, who's now Becky Lynch. So did you ever take a look at those girls and you say, well, hey guys, what about me? I don't know if that sounds like a selfish question, but that would certainly make me questions, like, what do you guys not see in me that, you're hiring all these other girls that I'm making look good? That never came up. And to be fair, I started like way longer before most of those girls, except for Mercedes. We started around the same time. That's not necessarily true. What did happen was, because my husband and I were living in San Francisco, and I did talk to WWE. They did talk to me about potentially being an NXT trainer. Okay. So we had a discussion about me coming as an NXT trainer, and it was between me and Sarah Stock, who is living in Mexico, and she's also like a really good friend of mine. And then they were going to bump up one of the trainers, one of the current trainers, to an agent position. And then so we had a discussion about that. And I was really open to that because, at the time, like, it was kind of like nearing, I was kind of coming to a point where like I actually like training, like helping women, and so I was really like very, very open to that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Just what little I know about you, that just seems like a natural position or a natural
to transition
to. Yeah.
But I hear the musician coming out in her.
I'm sorry?
I hear the musician talking in her right now. I really hear that. How long you been doing the music thing? What's your...
It's kind of pretty much in 2000 is when I stopped playing, because when I moved out of my house, it wasn't like I couldn't take my piano with me,
Right.
That's a huge instrument. And then, and also, like, I really didn't know what kind of like career opportunities were out there for, someone who played the piano. I really didn't understand that. Like, I wish, I was surrounded like with a music family, with music connections, right, and like, I really didn't understand, how you could make money playing the piano or whatever. It was just me as like an only child and a bunch of piano lessons, and I was really good. I'm probably like not now, but
no, that makes sense. I did it.
Oh, it's like a second language. You have to stay active in it. You have to keep your brain engaged with it. Like now that I live in Las Vegas, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I could have totally had like a bunch of jobs out here.
You're probably surrounded by musicians.
And surrounded by entertainers. Yeah. Like Las Vegas is like a really good city for, the entertainment industry, musicians and athletes. Right. Yeah. So.
And then there's
I really didn't get that. So back then, but
could have been a license.
Going back to the whole thing, I just with the NXT trainer. I just wasn't. We didn't want to move to Florida. I didn't want to live in Florida. So I was just like, nah.
So you like it out west.
Yeah.
You like it down in Vegas. I saw just to maybe annoy you for a minute. I did see like interior decorating pictures and these sorts of things on your Twitter, and you're getting your house, up nice.
Sure am.
But I also saw some interesting tweets. #Dark Order.
Oh,
Is
my
is
God.
is that well? Was that a goal? Were you pushing to get maybe hired by AEW or Tony Khan?
No,
No.
hold on. I'm hearing a ringer. Hold on. I'm
Okay,
hearing something's.
It might be Tony Khan now.
Oh Lord, no. I don't know. Okay, I don't know what happened, but it stopped.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. What happened? What happened was that most of those tweets are pretty alcohol fueled, and
Ooh.
Is it okay? Is it fair to say that we know you like wine, or at least I
Yes.
that yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty alcohol fueled. But like, yeah, no, most of those tweets are pretty alcohol fueled.
Sound like a
But it's just-
Merlot lady.
Yes, and like, I mean, God, like, what do you? But here's the thing, like, every time they come out, you know, like, what do you expect? I mean, like, what do you expect? Like, the reactions are going to be when like everybody looks like a bouncer from a Berlin sex club? Like, it's just like I just.
Oh, that was
You know?
fantastic.
So it's just like I just crack up every time they come out, and
No, there
then
were-
like this.
I
Yeah,
know there was
so
tons
then-
of criticism towards that group, especially before like Brody showed up, and then and I like Anna Jay, but I could
Come on.
I can see you in that spot,
It's
though.
very. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I was a part of that, I would do a really good job.
I think you would
Like,
be
I would
awesome.
be really good for that.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, oh, let me show you how it's done. But like, yeah, no, I would. But realistically, like, yeah, those tweets are like very alcohol fueled, and like, it's just every time they come out, I just like feel like they're asking for it every time. I'm like,
But if they
it's
call,
so fetishy.
if they called you though, if Tony Khan called you tomorrow, but maybe you did have to move to Florida or something like that, would you?
No, I'm not moving.
You're not moving.
No.
So you wouldn't be
absolutely
interested.
not.
You wouldn't be interested in that at all. That women's division needs you, girl.
Aw. Well,
Have you seen what's down
like
there?
I said before. Well, like I said
Tom Brady
before,
moved to Florida.
I'm not moving to Florida. I like it. I love my house. I'm very happy over here.
She does have a
No.
yeah.
Yeah, check it.
No, I was
Come
going to
on,
say,
like,
go on Twitter
I
and
think
check out pictures.
I think Daniels and Kazarian, they're still in California. They're flying them out. They could
Yeah,
fly
if
me out if
they
they
can
want
fly.
to.
Yeah, now that
can
I'm
fly me
certainly
out.
down that for absolutely. They could fly you out.
I'm closer too. I'll probably be a cheaper airline ticket.
Yeah.
True.
They should. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm pandering, but I thought they made a really great signing not too long ago with Serena Deeb. I thought that was a step in the right direction. And I really do like Britt and Britt Baker. And then other than that, I don't know what they really have. And maybe I'm being overly critical, but
Eva Lee's
I'm sorry.
from Lucha.
No, go ahead, say it.
Eva Lee's from Lucha. What's her tag? Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa's there, yeah.
Somebody else is there.
But she's also representing NWA while she's there, so
I don't think she's signed.
Yeah, I don't know what the relationship is there.
Oh, okay.
No, I'd definitely be like I was saying, like towards like the NXT. Like I definitely would be open to, being an agent and being like a support, for the women's division. That's something like I would really love to take a stab at in the future. Obviously, like not anytime soon because I'm still taking COVID seriously. So no, thank you. But
yeah, right.
But I definitely would love to. Get a lot more experience, just agent as support. Just like I have a couple girls out here in Las Vegas that I've been training and helping. So,
oh wow, okay.
and I've really been enjoying it. And I've really been enjoying it. So I would, so that would be something I'd love to take a part of in the future. But obviously not anytime soon.
So would you if we get a handle on this pandemic, would opening a school be an option for you?
It would. I would like. It would. I would like to. I definitely would want some partners in it. I definitely would want it to be all female. I would like it to focus on female wrestling. I just feel like female wrestling is literally like a whole different demon than like men's wrestling.
Sure.
Like there's like the training's different, and there's just so many things as a, being a female and learning how to be like TV compatible, that's just like not taught in wrestling schools at all. There's just so much in wrestling schools, like, and just TV stuff that, get overlooked at a wrestling school, and you don't really learn these things until you get thrown on TV, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Right. So, I mean, and there's just so many other like aspects to it. So, and I would love to have like a variety of female trainers, that specialize in different areas of that, while I'd be like more, specialized in one area, I would love to like bring in like another female trainer that like, specializes in costumes, specializes in entrances, specializes in TV presence, in promos and stuff like that. Just all the other additional stuff that, tends to get overlooked in wrestling schools.
Well, your business plan already sounds pretty solid to me.
Thank you.
I had another. Will, did you have a question?
I got two questions.
Okay, go ahead. I'm going to let Will jump in here.
Get in your head and see where you're coming from. But I'm a musician.
Okay.
Classic rock or classic metal?
I guess I have to lean towards rock, but I really don't listen to either.
You're a concert pianist.
Yeah.
Okay. You're classic.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You said you had two.
Sting, the musician.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
Not Steve Borden.
I'm like, who? Which one?
Sting or Kenny G?
Oh.
Vocalist or non-vocalist?
See, that's two different categories, though.
Not really. Not really.
Come on, Will. That's a tough one. I couldn't even answer that.
Would you prefer the instrumental or somebody singing? Being the concert pianist that you are.
I mean, I guess personally, I have to go with Sting because I like listening to his voice.
Okay.
He's got a really good voice, and he's really entertaining to listen to.
I'm on that.
Me too. I agree. Man.
Melissa, my next question to you was: imagine that you are mommy Melissa, and your daughter wants to get into the business. What sort
Absolutely not.
No, just no.
Absolutely not.
Really?
Why?
That's surprising.
No.
I'm a little shocked at that answer.
No,
go ahead and tell us.
I would support it. I mean, I would support it if she wanted to, but I'm not going to force it or encourage it off the bat by any means.
No, I just meant if you had advice, like she says, hey mom, I really want to follow in your footsteps. I really want to do this. Can you help me out?
I feel like, why?
Yes. Find out
that's the same thing my parents still ask me to this day.
Yep.
But people haven't been around.
If that were the case, I would just make sure. I would just make sure that because having family like be trainers and stuff like that, that's a real tough relationship. I think it's almost like it kind of falls in the same category as like husband and wife, like working together. You're around each other all the time.
Sure.
So there's triggers that as family members where it's really easy to get ticked off and mad at each other and just be non-responsive. So if she wanted to go that direction, I would just make sure she's going to a credible school with credible trainers.
Sure.
And making sure that she's always having a very good outside perspective. And then if she wanted any training from myself or any advice from myself, I would allow her to approach me about that. But there's no way I would ever want to be a stage mom. You got to do this, you got to do that. I would have to always make sure there's really good, credible outside trainers. And then even if I had an opinion about it, I would make sure I go through the trainer.
Sure.
But doing directly, sometimes I would say that's really tough. Because there's footsteps to follow and high expectations and and I don't want any of that. I would want her to create her own path. I wouldn't, want her, trying to match up or trailing on anybody's coattails by any means.
There you go. Yeah.
Who was your favorite wrestler coming up? Female.
Oh, female?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, as a kid, like, I really loved Sherry Martel.
Yes.
Sherry. Oh, man. Yeah. Awesome.
Really loved Sherry Martel for a bunch of reasons. Like, one, like, first of all, like, I just loved all of her insane outfits. I was there for all of that.
Right.
I loved anything and everything that Sherry wore. It was always sparkly and crazy and insane. She had big hair and, like, the glitter makeup and, like, stuff written on her face. And I always thought that was, like, so cool. And then, two, like, Sherry, like, anytime she wrestled, like, she was wildly aggressive. She was a heel.
Yeah.
And she was a really good heel. And she was just absolutely, like, insanely aggressive. And, like, she may have not been, like, the most fundamentally sound as, like, let's say Medusa. But, like, you knew that if you were going to get in the ring with Sherry Martel, like, you were going to get your ass whooped.
Yeah, you're in for a fight.
You're in there about it. She'll make you, yeah. So, like, just between her aggression, I think I loved her because of her aggression and her style.
Yeah. And a lot of people must have loved. I mean, you know, she's doing all this work with Macho Man and Hogan, and I mean, Ric Flair. She's in these really big, high-profile spots. So, you know, the respect that she demanded had to be, you know, phenomenal. So, yeah, she's one of my favorites as well.
I thought she was the proverbial detour sign that any kind of attention that was coming toward the match that she was in, it's going to her.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hands down. I mean, let's look at Macho Man Warrior match.
Oh, yeah.
She beat, oh man, dude, it was like you couldn't get that focal point off of her because it kept swinging back to her until she finally flipped on Macho. And
Oh, yeah.
you know how the story,
And she was just great in her.
So good.
I wonder why that
any
was
role she was
considered
in.
one of the greatest matches of all time. It's because of
It
her.
wasn't because of Warrior.
Right.
I mean, I'll give Randy Savage all the credit in the world, but it wasn't because of and I'm not crapping on Warrior. It's just, you know.
And she was what
As far as a
with Shawn
technician.
Michaels, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I loved her with Shawn Michaels.
She sang "Sexy Boy" before before he overdubbed it.
Yeah, that was very Dark Order.
That was fantastic. Right?
No pun intended on the Dark Order, but she also was managing Harlem Heat. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, she had. I'm telling you.
That's right. I forgot about that too.
Yeah, that was legit, man.
When Booker T
Very
dropped the
good.
N-bomb
Very
on
good, Will.
TV.
Oh, jeez.
I was watching this.
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you. And I won't say that.
I was like, did he
Her
say
face,
like-
though, she just patted him on the shoulder like it's going to be all right, man.
It was the funniest thing on TV. Oh man!
Before we wrap up, is there anybody on the male side that you've ever wanted to work with that you can think of?
Gosh, that's not even something like I've thought about
Really?
at all. No, not at all.
Managing or intergender tags or anything of that
Being
nature.
a Paul Heyman girl.
Right?
Just saying.
You gonna hook her up? You gonna hook her up Paul's
you know
number?
what?
Do you know that?
Funny. Well, actually, one match that would be fun that I would love to do intergender would be Jamie Senegal.
Oh wow! Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
You can't get more opposite than that.
Oh no.
Wow.
Maybe you versus.
That was a left turn in Albuquerque if I've ever heard.
Why do I want to see Melissa versus Effie?
Oh, versus Effie?
Yeah.
I'd be open to that too.
That would be pretty dope.
This is PG, man. Gotta be PG.
No, I am keeping it PG.
No, but I'm like,
Are you?
Hello?
I'm like,
No, he's deep
Okay.
he's deep in thought. Sometimes we lose
okay.
him.
I
Hang
thought I
on,
lost you guys.
hang on. I'm trying to focus him back up.
promising female wrestlers on the circuit right
Why
now.
don't you just ask about your girl and with her and be done with it?
My girl?
Yeah.
Oh no, Hey, what's up with Shotzi?
He's in love with Shotzi. He's in love with Shotzi Blackheart.
She's great.
Yeah.
I watched her, and like the first time I saw her fishnet stockings were like all one piece, and then like the next week, I kept going, yeah, I remember when she got that hole in it, and that hole in it. And it's just like progressive. I'm like, Why is she still wearing that? If I ever meet her, I will buy her a brand new pair of fishnet stockings. I mean, that's no joke.
I'm sure she'd appreciate that.
And then she's like riding in the little tank and everything. That's like so cool.
Have you ever had fans do that for you? Like, I understand that her tank that she rides to the ring in was actually funded by a GoFundMe and a guy that said I can build it if we raise the money. Have you heard that story?
No, was it like for a charity or something, or what's going on?
No, it's like she drives a little tank to the ring on NXT.
Oh, okay.
And the tank was actually and the tank was built basically a fundraiser by fans that actually built her that tank.
How funny! Yeah, I didn't know the story. I saw the tank, but I didn't know the story behind it.
So I guess my follow up question to that was: have you ever had any fans do anything that crazy? Like, it's like, hey, we're gonna buy you a robe, or hey, do we want to do this for your entrance or anything like that?
Well, I mean, did she put that out there? Did she say like, "Hey, I'm doing a GoFundMe to build me a tank or something"?
I don't know if she put out a GoFundMe, but I saw a video that said that if I ever get back into WWE or something like that, that's the kind of entrance I want. Okay. I want to ride a tank to the ring, which I thought was hysterical.
We'll see. She probably put that out there, not expecting people to do something about that.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Triple H march on Norfolk on WCW in the tank?
Yeah, but I don't know. See, I don't know her backstory. I don't know if that inspired her to do that or not. But I know that was an idea she had. I just thought it was interesting that fans actually followed up with that.
Yeah, really cool. The thing is, times have certainly changed because now we live in a time where fans can do that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a fairly new thing, know. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're asking me, has that ever happened to you? Well,
yeah, I was trying. Yeah.
Well, funny story. Like, when I was wrestling, we still had like AOL dial-up. So,
you've got
those resources weren't really out there.
You get the little disc in the magazine.
You had the GoFundMes. Had to send VHS tapes and CDs to tryouts. And
stuff. Yeah, I remember those days for sure.
Yeah,
because I started like I haven't had the career you've had, but I started like a year after you, and I remember submitting VHS tapes to various promotions and stuff like that.
Oh, the Tough Enough. You did it too?
No, she was in Tough Enough. I didn't do Tough Enough. I did send tapes into TNA, but I was like 2 years in, man. They weren't going to hire my rookie butt for anything.
Wow.
Yeah. When they were first starting, when they were pay-per-view only. Yeah. I can't
retribution.
I can't remember how many tapes I sent. Gosh, I was trying my butt off, but back that was the goal back then. Now it's completely different.
Right.
I'm just happy sitting here having a podcast, and if I get some indie bookings, that's cherry on top. Okay. Melissa, listen, we don't want to take up too much more of your time. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
You are the first one that I reached out to that gave me an emphatic yes.
Cool.
I owe you so much. Thank you for being on here, and it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And hopefully, when the pandemic gets cleared up, we'll see you again.
We're definitely giving you a key to the studio.
Oh, and my wife and my wife says hello, and hope your
she's so good.
Hopes your Coach collection is doing well.
Oh, she's so cute. Oh, wow! You guys are so great.
Let me tell the story real quick. So the first time we met Melissa, we actually got to drive her back to her hotel room, and weren't we driving by outlet malls and you saw the Coach sign, or one of you saw the Coach sign?
Yeah, and then, probably.
And then they got to talking about purses and like. Like Denny is so over with Melissa right now. Like, she didn't even remember who I was. Like the second or third time I talked to her, like, who are you again? And I was like, no,
sorry,
no, the lady with the Coach purse. Like, what?
Oh, she's so cute.
No, I'm just teasing you. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for being on. It's been a pleasure having you on.
It sure was.
Yeah, absolutely. Had fun.
All right, take care now.
Thank you, you too, guys. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheerleader Melissa, everybody.
Dude, she rocks.
She is awesome. She is great. Fantastic person.
I think she doesn't want to be in the ring as far as competing in ring. I think.
You think so?
I
think she's ready.
She wants to get back
she's
into
ready
playing
for
piano.
You and this piano
Dude,
thing.
I'm just like, I can relate.
She just said she hasn't played in like 20 years.
If you put her in a room for an hour to do whatever she wants to with that piano,
That's the
I promise you.
That's the musician in you talking.
Oh, that's why I had to go get me a new guitar.
Yeah.
And dude, when I feel the itch coming on, it's like, yo, I got to jam or do something.
So you want to talk about a couple other things before we?
Okay.
You want to talk about your boys getting buried?
What, the Buccaneers?
No, I'm talking about Retribution.
Oh my God. Oh, man. I don't know what's going on. To tell you the truth, I don't know what's going on.
They have spent so much time and effort. I thought they were building them up, and I don't know. And now, Ali did cut a pretty passionate promo after that, so maybe something's going to happen to Hell in Cell. Maybe the experiment's not over yet, but
now that you said that, I believe everything is falling right into plan. With respect to that promo that Ali cut, everything is falling. They're not worried.
I mean, the Fiend just wiped all of them by himself. T-Bar tapped out to Lashley.
I tell you what,
T-Bar.
It would not surprise
Dominic.
me
if I can say your name now.
If Bray Wyatt thinks that he's going to have a posse behind him, and they turn on him.
Well, behind every good man is a female, and he's got Alexa hypnotized for sure. Oh, you think he's going to build another stable and they're going to flip on him?
I think Braun Strowman's going to be with the Retribution. I think Lars Sullivan's going to be with Retribution. I think all these major names that are coming out, they're going to be with Retribution until John Cena returns. And we know what happens then.
You might be reaching.
No. Do
you want to hear? Do you want to hear a potential spoiler that I heard? Anybody want a potential spoiler? This may not drop before Hell in the Cell anyway, so I don't know.
What's that? That
Randy Orton may be the real leader of Retribution, and that he takes the championship Sunday night from Drew McIntyre. I think that was on Sportskeeda or something like that. But you know how these rumors get started, and then somebody makes a prediction, and then it doesn't happen. He did admit to being the SmackDown hacker.
The hacker, yeah.
Yes. So I had it sort of right, partially right.
Oh, but when it's gonna hit. Good days are coming back, and I really hate to say it, that if you were WCW back in the day, you're gonna hate things.
Vince Russo's coming back?
No, but the band is coming back together. I really believe it.
All right, we'll see. You got anything else you want to talk about? We can make this one a short one today. I'm sure our YouTube followers will appreciate that. Okay, we already covered that. Let me see, who else? Title. I don't know.
Finn Balor.
Okay, what about Finn?
Wait a second. He's going back to the main roster.
Is he now?
Yes. That's my prediction.
I think he should.
He's going back to the main roster.
Once he gets nice and healed up and everything.
Yeah.
He should. They need him on one of the shows.
He's going to vanquish Bray Wyatt.
Better get your demon out. You're going to vanquish the Fiend.
He's going to take out the Fiend. And Finn Balor
has been presented as like nearly invincible for how long now? I think I just belched on camera. That's gross.
Oh, well, as long as the thing is covering. But the Fiend hasn't really been unstoppable much, because last I checked, Roman ran through him, Goldberg ran through him. Goldberg ran through him. Goldberg put a beat on him, and it was.
But Goldberg ran through your guy Brock there for a while, and then Brock got his comeuppance. The Fiend. Look.
When the suplex starts.
All right, here's the deal. The Fiend is the new Undertaker. Not that
think it's going to be Finn Balor.
Not that he's never going to ever lose, but he's not going to lose much.
I think it's going to be Finn Balor.
Okay.
Finn Balor is going to be the new Sting.
Finn Balor's the new Sting.
Well, if you say Bray Wyatt's going to be the new Undertaker,
he is.
Then the Undertaker has to have his
he's part
antithesis.
He's part Undertaker, and then him and Alexa are part Joker, part Harley Quinn. I mean, that's if you follow comic books at all.
But Finn is 100% demon.
Finn will have to be 100% demon to beat
Bray's gonna be splitting 50-50, trying to play human, trying to play bad guy, well, immortal.
Isn't that what? No, wait. Isn't that what Finn does? Finn is Finn Balor, regular dude, and then the demon, who is, to my knowledge, has never been beaten in WWE, doesn't show up that often.
Well,
somebody takes the L if they put. I think that's why they haven't put that together. Because they don't want either one of them to have to take that.
Oh, somebody's gonna take that L.
They don't want. Well, they don't want to bury the demon, and they don't want to bury the Fiend either. So
it wouldn't have to be a bury.
Not bury, but you know what I mean. They don't want either one of them to lose.
Well, the Undertaker could come back and lay them both out.
That's there's something to talk about. That's the rumor for Survivor Series. That Taker will make an appearance.
It has begun.
That's the big Survivor Series rumor.
The urn will resurface soon.
Here comes the urn.
Seriously?
The power of the urn.
Because you've got everybody fighting this cataclysmic battle for what? For what? There's some kind of
WrestleMania.
You can't tell me.
All roads lead to WrestleMania.
But you can't say that at Toys R Us when them kids buying all them toys, because they gonna see something. Hey, I want to know, what is the power? I mean, He-Man had a sword. Word?
The power is Vince McMahon.
Man, them kids ain't gonna look at
Vince McMahon.
Nah, scratch that one, dude.
No chance. No chance.
Now think about
why is it No Chance in Hell not the theme song for Hell in a Cell?
That's good. That's real good.
I'm Adderall scrambling again, I think. I've had my interview and now I'm jumping all over the place.
I know she rocked on that interview, dude.
Oh man, Melissa is fantastic. So, off air, I'm gonna have to call her and give her a big thanks.
Most definitely.
Yeah,
man. These people need to stop playing with live events, man. They really need to stop that.
They need to. Okay, wait. I want you to clarify that. They need to stop having them, or need to stop.
No, stop the BS behind it.
Stop stopping them.
Because I remember there was a time that I can go and grab me a can of Lysol, and on the back of the Lysol, it says, it kills 100% human coronavirus. And between the herpes and the hepatitis A, right in between those, there is human coronavirus. What happened? Or what happened to people just being genuinely clean and taking care of themselves, just having good oral hygiene or whatnot, you know?
Without getting
cover your mouth when you cough, dog.
Without getting too political, I think in the next 5 to 10 years we're going to find out this is one of the biggest I might have said this before.
It's a planned
one of the biggest overreactions, global overreactions there ever was. I'm not saying people don't get it, and I'm not saying people don't get sick, and there's stuff that happens, but I mean, you have an immune system for a reason.
I remember we used to play outside and eat dirt.
Eat dirt?
Well, make mud pies and whatnot.
Eat dirt? I probably snorted dirt, ate dirt, got dirt all over my body. I was,
and we were fine. We used to drink water out the hose.
Well, see. Kids we're like the last generation of kids that probably played outside. Once Atari happened, we were doomed.
Not with my parents.
Them kids started. Kids started staying inside. No, I remember, and this is way off wrestling, guys, but we'd built forts in the woods and, and dirt trails and all those kinds of things. And, I'm 48 now and I complain about the heat. But, man, I remember I'd be in the heat all day and not, no worries, man.
It was either be in the heat all day or be stuck with lawn work or housework. No.
Yeah, you want to do. No. You can do some chores, or you can get out of the house for a while and play with your friends. Well, that's an easy choice.
No brainer.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Well, where we were then. Oh, that's terrible.
Girls were girls and
men were men. We've lost our minds.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
I think it's time to wrap.
It's Vader time.
I think it's wrap time.
Okay.
All right. So when we come back next week, we'll talk about Hell in a Cell.
So what you're trying to tell me is there's going to be a new WWE.
I think when we come back for our next taping, there will be a brand new WWE champion. His name will be Randy Orton 14 times.
And didn't Randy Orton back in the day mess around with a certain NWO member's daughter?
Wait, who was that?
Hogan.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about all that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that nonsense.
That's coming back around.
Well,
that's why I say the NWO, it's coming.
Brooks gonna be one of those a few years from now, one of those questions, where is she now? kind of things.
Y'all remember this?
Oh, geez.
Y'all were gonna hear this all during Raw.
So he says. Well, all right. I'm gonna wrap this up. Will, do you have a final thought? I always love your little anecdotes when we leave.
Never tug on Superman's cape. Never urinate in a fan.
You can say don't piss in the wind. It's fine.
No, not in the wind because it's going to land on somebody else. Nah, if you're in the fan, that's blowing back on you.
You can say it. I don't have these things, kids, protected on YouTube because so you can't get comments.
Fan. Nah, it's just like.
And you don't mess around with Jim.
Yeah, wasn't that was Jim Croce?
Jim Croce, Jim Duggan,
Slim Jim. I don't
mess with any of those guys.
Yeah. Wait, hold up. Where's the cream? So
what?
We do the cream of the crop.
Yeah. The cream of the crop.
Yeah.
The macho man. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, that was a good dude.
Yes, he was.
All right.
Still don't talk on Superman's cape.
Don't do it.
No.
All right. For Jason Willis, that is Will Spann right over there. That guy. Thank you so much to Cheerleader Melissa for having that interview today. It was fantastic. We had a great time. Until next time, folks, and to all our YouTube people out there, like, subscribe, hit that button. We could use the help. we need professional help after all of this is over.
And if you don't get help with us, please get help somewhere.
All right, we'll see you.
2, 3, and